Coming to the basic aspect, so we are talking regarding the remote security principles. The basic principles are that we need to have the data verification in a clear-cut manner. So the process of verifying an identity claim, suppose two persons are going to communicate with each other. So they have their own identities. So we need to check the validity of the two identities in order to have the good communication between the two persons. So this is the major scenario as far as remote user authentication is concerned. So this is an authentication process which consists of two steps. One is presenting an identifier to the security system. Another one is presenting or generating authentication information that collaborates between the two identifiers. So first one is regarding the ID card. Suppose in your class, two people are going to communicate with each other. They both have their own ID cards. So their ID card should be validated in such a way that they can have the mutual communication. So suppose we are taking this class as an example. I am at a remote location and you people are at some remote location and we both are communicating with the help of a medium called as online class. So this authentication is verifiable only with the specified users. Suppose a user outside GVP college is not eligible to attend this class. So this is the major scenario of remote user authentication. So what are the various means of authentication? So the primary thing is that each user should be identified with the individual identity. So something that individual knows. So like usernames and passwords, that will become one sort of identifiers. Something that individual processes. So this includes some key mechanisms. So basically, we are having one center called KDC center in this remote authentication process, which is going to give some sort of keys to the end users so that these keys can be validated only with the identifiers and other aspects. So that is the major scenario of remote user authentication. So in this strategy, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to make the individual as authenticated user. So there are two things, especially as far as cryptography and network security are concerned. One is authentication, another one is authorization. So both are essential aids. If a user is authenticated but not authorized, he is not able to generate or display the message to the end user. So that is the major thing of authentication. Another one is authorization. All the users who are authenticated need not be authorized. So that is the two-way scenario that makes to the user authentication process. So we need to have some biometric system for the recognition of the end users who are going to use it. So that is the major scenario. So coming to the mutual exclusion process. So mutual authentication process. So we are having two parties which are going to authenticate mutually between to each other with the help of exchange of identity as well as the keys. Identities, I think you all aware of the digital signature. With the help of digital signature, we can have the identity and session keys. These are the short-term keys that are generated with the KDC center, key development, key exchange center, majorly key exchange center. So it is going to discharge all the keys. So that is the main center, key distribution center. We call it as key distribution center to distribute all the keys to the end user. So we are having two sort of keys. One is the master key, another one is the session key. So this master key can be viewed with only the private members or the public members who can view or outline all the aspects of the master keys. So master keys can be disclosed with the two end users. But session keys, these are not enclosed. To conduct a session, we have short-term keys. So this session key is called as short-term key, which is used for a short span of time for the exchange. So during this short span of exchange, the encryption and decryption can be possible between the two end users so that the data can be confidential and can be exchanged between the two end users. So this is the major scenario of exchanging of mutual authentication. So coming to the major challenging task that come across as far as this mutual exchange is concerned, when two people are going to exchange their data, So one person at the other end can give a reply to the other end, to the other person. So this is called as reply attack. So he thought that the person is going to give the reply to me, to the suggested person. Suppose there are two persons A, B, and C. A, B are going to communicate with each other, but C is going to generate the replies as far as like as B. So that is the major thing that come across as far as this challenging task is concerned. So for that sake, what we are trying to do, we are giving some timestamps to the end users. So A is having some timestamp to send the message to B, and B is having timestamp to send the message to A. So when both are going to communicate with each other based on the timestamps, A can authenticate and authorize like B. So C is going to authorize like A and going to send the messages to B with the timestamps as like as B. So that is the major thing that come across as far as reply attacks is concerned. So this is the major challenging task as far as cryptography and network security is concerned. So in this area, majorly, we are having some sort of attacks. So in order to overcome this sort of attacks, we need to overcome all the attacks with the help of some timestamps. So timestamp have some validity. Based on the validity, A can understand that this message came from B, not from C. If the message came from C, that should be authorized and authenticated. So like if a person is going to communicate with other person, and if there is any conjunction of the information that is transmitted between the two persons, then this attack should be overcome with the help of a sequence number. So the major thing to overcome the reply attacks is the sequential search. So we need to have the sequence and some sort of time based on the timestamp or the sequential message that is transmitted between the end users. The message should be replied accordingly. So that is the major scenario that we come across as far as the message transmission is concerned. We'll be giving some sequence number, and the message is going to transmitted with the help of the sequence. And based on the sequence, the message is going to communicated with one another. So this is the scenario as far as the networking is concerned. So when we are taking the sequential information or the sequence numbers to each and everyone, this message is going to accepted only with the sequence number, and the message is transmitted in a sequential manner. Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Deepak. Hello. I think Karthik, right? So this is the major thing as far as reply attacks are concerned. Okay. So we are having one more concept called as, just a minute. So these are the things that relate to the authentication. As I said, should be some trusted keys and secret keys that should be shared between the end users. So this is the major mutual exclusion process. Just a minute. So this is the mutual exclusion process. So one is we have key development center, key distribution center, and we have two respondents, A and B. So when there is communication between the key respondents and initiator A, so the key distribution center is going to verify the authentication or the digital signature of A, B. Along with that, it is going to send some message called as nuisance message between A and B. So between A and key distribution center. And based on that, it is going to send the encrypted message to A, and that message is verified with is going to send with B. Now there is some transmission between A and B. In order to communicate A and B, there is one key distribution center with the master keys and the session keys. Based on the master keys and the session keys, the key is going to authenticated or authorized. So these are the various scenarios as far as mutual authentication or algorithm is concerned, protocol is concerned. So So based on this, we are having some sort of attacks called as suppressed replay attacks. So these are some sort of attacks that occur based on the timestamp. As I said, the user C can find some faults on the time, and based on the timestamps, C is going to send some messages to A. So this sort of authentication should be authorized and verified. So this problem occurs when a sender's clock is ahead. So there is some timestamp gap. Based on the timestamp gap, the opponent is going to send the messages or reply the messages to the unauthorized user. So that means there is some hacking that may be possible in the network due to the suppressed reply attack. So next aspect is regarding the Kerberos. This is the most important aspect as far as the communication is concerned. We'll also see with some sort of real-time example regarding all these concepts in the due time. So first one is that user is going to request some tickets to the Kerberos. So this is called as three-way authentication process. We are having the authentication server, we are having the ticket generation server, and we are having the Kerberos database. So this is the final way of communication between the user and the Kerberos. So first thing is that when user is going to request the tickets to the Kerberos for the authentication, the Kerberos is going to authenticate whether the user is going to have the reliable digital signature identity or not. So based on that, the Kerberos going to send the ticket and session key to the end user. So this ticket is going to having some validation or authorization. So everyone cannot use this ticket. So this ticket is going to have some authorization and authentication. So this authentication will be done with the ticket generating server. So now when the user is going to request the service for the ticket generating server, so this server is going to authenticate the ticket, whether the ticket is particularly sent by this user or not. That will be verified. And based on that, ticket plus session key is going to send to the end user. So this session key helps to make a service to the another server or the another host that the user is going to communicate with each other. So now this ticket plus session key, with the help of session key, user can send a request message to the another host, and based on that, that host can be provide a service to the authentication user. So this is called as three-way authentication and authorization process. So I think the best example is that you all aware of the authentication process as far as Kerberos are concerned. So you all might have aware of the scholarship process. Now all the scholarships are being generated with the 6-step authentication process, not 3-step authentication process. So this 6-step authentication process is going to done with the help of the system like Kerberos. The basic thing behind the security aspects is that we need to provide good sort of security between the clients and servers, because even though if you do some real-time algorithms or real-time strategies, the user end is going to play an important role. User interface is going to play an important role. Even though you learn artificial intelligence and other aspects and other projects as well, UI is going to play an important role. So if your user interface is going to crash at any point or is going to hack at any point, then there is no sort of new sort of systems cannot be generated accordingly. And the funded clients will be benefited as far as, will not be benefited as far as the user authentication is concerned. So for this, we need to make the security as much critical as possible so that end users can use all the derived aspects of the security. So these are the theoretical aspects as far as Kerberos concept is concerned. Now we'll just see the practical aspect as far as Kerberos concept is concerned. Let me just take a sample example. We are going to take the same example as I have said in the digital signature. So one hero is going to communicate with the other hero. So when coming to the concept of Kerberos, he need to send some message to the authentication purpose. So he is going to send a message to the authenticated server. whether this server is going to authenticate or not. So now this server is going to check the authentication with the help of master keys. So there are two master keys. Based on the master keys, the verification is done. So if the verification was done, now this authentication code along with the service is going to send with the end user. So there is one sort of service, and along with the one ticket that is generated, there is one ticket along with the service that is transmitted to the end user. So this ticket cannot be opened to each and everyone. So this ticket will be in the hidden map. So now when there is another communication between the ticket generator, now this ticket generator is authenticate the ticket. So this ticket will be authenticated by the ticket generator server. So these two are the heroes. Now Pawan Kalyan need to communicate with Nagarjuna. So the major thing is that before communicating with Nagarjuna, he communicates with Mahesh Babu, who is the authorized server. So this authorized server need to give some authentication to Pawan Kalyan in such a way that the message should not be disclosed to each and everyone. So he transmits a QR code. Along with that, there is one ticket. So this is the ticket that generated with Mahesh Babu. So this ticket will be authorized. This ticket should be authorized. This ticket cannot be authorized with Pawan Kalyan because it is not in the authentication map. So this should have some authorization. So this ticket can be authorized with the next hero that is called as Venkatesh. We call him as Venkatesh. So he is going to authorize that particular ticket, and then this ticket can be generated. This ticket along with the message is transmitted to Pawan Kalyan. Now Pawan Kalyan need to communicate with Nagarjuna. So that is the major thing. So we have the QR code and the authorization ticket. So this ticket helps mainly that this identity belongs to this particular person or not. Because this ticket went two places. One is the authentication server, another one is the ticket generator server. Authenticated server is going to generate the tickets, but ticket generator server is going to authenticate the tickets. So both authentications are possible, then only the communication is possible between the two persons. So now Pawan Kalyan can send a message to the Nagarjuna with the help of QR code as well as the ticket, along with the ticket. So this ticket can be decrypted only with Nagarjuna. If any sort of hero in between enters and need to authenticate that particular ticket, it is not possible. Because this is authorized and authenticated with the help of authorized server and the ticket generators. So this is the major scenario of Kerberos. We can have various sort of Kerberos versions. We are having 4.0 version that is possible. So these are the major scenarios as far as ticket generation and ticket authentication are concerned. So this is the major synergy as far as the authorization and authentications are concerned. So these are the few aspects or the few important topics as far as cryptography is concerned. Cryptography and network security are concerned. So if you want to have the good identity regarding the communication, we need to go ahead with all the synergies. Like we need to travel with all the strategies and the synergies, and based on that, the communication is possible. So as I said, we need to make the communication between the client and server as complex as possible. Because in the middle, there may be some end users who are going to modify the message or enhance the message or crack the message. So to overcome that, we need to have a good sort of exchange of distributions like Kerberos and key distribution centers and mutual exchange, mutual authentications that will be helpful